another YouTube video. Today's video, we're going to be talking about how you can improve in Fortnite Battle Royale. Now, these tips will be the best and most important tips to learn when improving in the game and how to improve in the game when you are trying to either rank up, be better than your friends, or just get better at the game. Let's get into it. First thing we want to learn is best drop spots for us. Where are we going to get the best loot for the best contests for the best spots we can land? Now, this is mostly on preference on what is like your favorite place to go or what place you want to loot, that you always get a good gun or whatever. This is mostly just going to be your main drop spots. We're not going for super high risk drop spots. We're going for drop spots that maybe one or two people might try to contest you, but nothing crazy because we don't want like people contesting us or anything while we are trying to get loot before we go into fight. This is how you improve at the game. All great players have great drop spots. They don't have to be super popular or whatever. Like just whatever drop spot you think works for you, use it. Onto a tip on picking your drop spot. You want somewhere that has relatively quite a few chests without a lot of people either going there, or it's usually not in the exact center of the map because you don't want to be like fighting people who are rotating the zone. Alrighty guys, so these are mostly like whatever place I like is Snobby Shores. It's always a great spot. I really like Hotel on the OG map. Pleasant Park seems to be not too contested. So these are just areas that I like to go that I can relatively get a good gun right off the bat and a good loadout with some heals, get up to at least 150 HP and then push people. Like in this gameplay, I went to Snobby Shores, I got almost max, and you can see I have a pretty good loadout for the next fights that will be coming up. So let's talk about what guns to prioritize now. This is the next tip. After you found a spot you like looting, after you learned where to land, the next couple things we want to learn to get better at Fortnite is we're going to learn how to get better at looting. We want to make sure we are looting quick and efficient. We also want to make sure we're grabbing guns we are going to use that are the best of our ability, guns that we are good with. Now, these are relatively either guns you've known for a long time that have been in the game, or these are guns that were just added that are pretty high overpowered or just do a lot of great damage and you're really good with them. We want to make sure we're grabbing the guns we want and the guns we're not grabbing the guns we don't want. Now, relatively, I like to pick guns that do a lot of damage, but also have a pretty good clip, because if you're trying to get in someone's box or you're trying to just real quick switch out of your shotgun, you want a gun that has pretty good clip size and decent damage and speed of shooting to get the kill. Now, shotguns. They always update shotguns each year. I always go for the higher powered shotgun option, which is usually pumps or one shot, like heavy shotguns, because they seem to do the best. On to our next tip. So now you got guns you like using. You know what guns are pretty much the best in the game. You like one mythic that you want to hunt for or whatever it is. Now we are going to talk about fighting and how to set yourself up for fighting. These are great tips that I use to set myself up for any fight when I want to win, when I'm trying to do tournaments or whatever else it may be. On to the first tip, making sure you're getting enough mats for the fight you're going to get into, because we want to make sure we are set up for the most perfect, like, we want to make sure we are set up for the most successful fight we can be in, to where we win. We want the odds in our favor. That's max shield, the guns we're comfortable with, whatever rarity we got, and we want to make sure we have mats to help us build. Zero build players, I got stuff for you. Please wait while I get through this section. Now, build players. The builds you're going to get right off the bat that you're going to prioritize getting is wood and usually brick, and you can get some metal in like the older maps, but the newer maps I know don't have as much metal that you can get efficiently. So if you're playing normal Battle Royale, remember, always strive for wood and brick, as they are the most abundant sources on the island. On reload, we want to strive for wood, brick, and even metal, because metal cars are a good source of metal. In reload, I've noticed that mats don't matter as much in when you're pushing fights in the very beginning, because you do get mats when you kill people, and it's usually a faster paced game mode. In normal battle royale, you want to make sure you're always farming mats and getting close to at least one category that's max before we even start a fight. Like I said, this is for when you're going to push fights. This is not for when you first start and land, because it's unrealistic. We're not going to have that much mats when we're fighting in the very beginning. But once we get out of the first beginning fights, we want to make sure we are set up to win all the remainder fights in this match. So what we're going to go for is wood and brick usually in the very beginning. On to the next tip. What is a great source of resources to get these materials? I always like going for the smaller trees, as to not the bigger trees. I don't know why. I've just always never broke them, because back in the day you didn't, so you wouldn't be seen. But I just don't break them as much. I hit them down to like 100. But I mostly just farm the littler trees and rocks. They always seem to have a great like amount of resources for me, and I just do that until I get a lot of resources. I'm not like I'm moving as I'm doing it. I'm not just saying that farming, but I'm doing it. I'm running, rotating, getting mats. On to what heals we should always have in our inventory. In reload, I've always noticed you always want med kits and shields, minis, with small shields, or 3 bigs. 6 minis or 3 bigs. But you always want med kits, and a lot of people don't take med kits, but med kits are great for end game when you got to have a heal off. They're also great for when you get cracked in a box. They heal quick, they heal a lot. So we like med kits. Give you enough for how much space it takes. Onto what else should you carry in reload. This is for my reload players. I would always carry a great AR or SMG, a good shotgun, and usually a grappler for my rotates or shockwaves. Bounce pads are okay, but they are kind of hard to use at times, so I wouldn't recommend them if you can get a grappler or at least shockwaves. Now, enough about looting and getting the guns we want and all that. How do we fight better? Because I know all of you already know the beginning tips if you played the game for a while. This is for veterans and zero build players. What you carry, that way you can get into cover if you need be when you get into a fight from somebody you didn't know was there. Now, for build players, tips I can give. I always, when you're taking walls, try to sit on opposite of right-hand peaks, because a lot of players, they like to do peanut butter edits or full open situations when we don't have a lot of health. Either try to move out in another box or get out of the situation. I did not do that. I need to improve. Onto fighting and piece control. When you're piece controlling, you want to make sure you're always striving for a goal in piece control. Whether I'm trying to take his wall, get a cone in his box, or set up where he has to make a move outside of his box. But with piece control is the main thing that you need to learn if you're wanting to play build, reload, ranked, all this that involves build. You want to make sure you use piece control. Go into piece control maps. There's plenty of videos of people teaching how to piece control. There's plenty of maps that teach you how to piece control. Get good and comfortable with piece control. It's very important. On to our next thing, always training. This is a great tip. Go into game modes that are similar to reload, rank, or just normal battle royale. Zero build or a build, just try to find the game modes. Tilted towers, box fights, all these are great to improve as a player. Sometimes though, you don't want to play too much creative. You get too comfortable with being aggressive. Now, being aggressive can help you, but you don't want to be too aggressive. It gets you into a lot of dangerous situations, especially in normal battle royale. You only get one life. Whereas reload, it's a little more forgiving. You can respawn. Onto our next tip, always warming up before you play. Now, this is slept on a lot. A lot of players say, I need to warm up before I play, but you just go into build fights and you fight each other, then you go play. That's not warming up in a sense to improve. That's just trying to make sure when you go in, you're already in Fortnite mode. You want to go into aim trainers, piece control maps, whatever mechanical map you want to go into to improve. Play that for 30 minutes to an hour before you play, depending on how long you get to play during the day. You don't want it to eat into too much of your time, but you do want to practice and get better. So always go into piece control maps. Raider has a really good one. I know Jiven does. All of them people have really good maps. They make them, they're professionals, and they teach you in the map how to do stuff. So it's great for warming up in a sense. You're still improving because you're not necessarily just warming up. You're also working to get better, but it's great instead of just 1v1ing your friend. because you build bad habits 1v1ing your friends. In a sense, you still improve by 1v1ing your friends, but you build bad habits. You get comfortable with certain things, especially if they're not better than you. Always play better players to improve. If you can, if you have better friends, always play with them because they will make you better by being better. On to our next tip. Playing duos and squad maps. This is a great way to help you improve. Why is squads and duos great to help you improve? Well, because squads and duos help you utilize strategy and teamwork. Why is teamwork important if I'm just trying to get better at the game? Because it allows you to be more involved in the game in all its areas, mechanically, strategy, and even just how you pick fights. If you have teammates that are worse, you're going to pick fights different because you don't want your teammates to die. You have help for if you get knocked in a fight, they can res you. It's not all on you. This is great and it's fun. You get to play with friends and you improve. Now, for players who have already done all this and you're trying to get way better at this game, like I said, you can only improve so much in this game before you hit caps. One is definitely your millisecond delay. Now, you might have heard people say it's ping, whatever. Your millisecond delay is how like fast you are connected to the server, how much your game is connected to the server, how fast it updates in the server while you play. So if you're playing on 60 to 100 ping, you're not going to be able to do a lot of the more high advanced moves that players can do on 0 ping because the game doesn't allow you to. What do I mean? I mean in piece control situations you might not be able to take walls. In certain gunfights you might not count your shots because of your millisecond delay. So improving as a player is learning how to deal with your ping, your millisecond delay. Learning how to either play with it or improve it. Now, there's various methods to improve it on like being direct connected with Ethernet, turning down your graphics on Fortnite, and making sure you pick the best servers for you. The problem with players is they spend a lot of time in creative where you have less millisecond delay. It's funner, you have better like connection to the server, you edit faster, your guns count better, whatever it is. Where playing creative messes up a lot of players for Battle Royale is they get too used to lower ping or whatever ping they're at, so they get comfortable with what they know. Okay, if I do this, I take this guy's wall. If I could do this edit for a great move, but with higher ping, you cannot do these moves. And I notice a lot of players run into this, like they say they don't want to play Battle Royale, not because they can't edit really good and stuff, but it's because they say their ping's higher and it doesn't allow them to be as effective. So, like I said, play game modes in creative that are best suited for whatever game mode you're playing. If you're gonna play Reload, play Zone Wars, and where there's quite a few players, that way you still have some kind of delay instead of just playing 1v1 maps. 1v1 maps still improve your mechanics, but they don't improve on Battle Royale, and we're talking about Battle Royale games. How do we improve or with bad delay? So I play on around 40 to 60 ping always. And one thing I really noticed about this is you don't want to try to do too much. Yes, I could do triple edits and quad edits, but I'll be more careful. But like when you have higher ping in normals than creative, how you play in creative, you just want to be a little more careful. Like if you're a really aggressive player taking walls and stuff in creative, you want to be a little more careful when taking people's walls and take better precautions when you go to take people's walls. Right here, I was doing some high ground retakes I normally do, and I noticed that they're a little bit harder, especially with higher ping. But you can still do these moves. You gotta be quicker stuff. And right here, I couldn't even react in time to my shots. Always go into aim trainers and improve your shots. On to our next tip for improving after the millisecond delay, after all that, is learning the mechanics. If you're not super fast mechanically, learn drills and go on maps to help you improve mechanically. Now, there is limits. Maybe you're not improving that great on Xbox controller, PS4 controller, PS5 controller. Like me, when I was a controller player, I switched to keyboard and mouse to improve. It helped me a lot mechanically. Controller, I couldn't move my fingers fast enough, so I switched to keyboard and mouse. Keyboard and mouse is a great option to switch to because you have full access to all the mechanics in the game. Whereas controller players struggle with a lot more things. You got to be smoother, you got to be quicker. Whereas PC, it's more forgiving when you're on keyboard and mouse for editing and crosshair placements, more forgiving. Also, your aim will improve somewhat on PC than controller once you get used to it. So I recommend a lot of controller players if you're tapped out on how good you are, or you're watching this video and you're like, TMS, I already do all these, tips you're telling me. I still am like not that great at the game, or I'm just not where I want to be. Switching to keyboard and mouse is a great option. A lot of people will say, "Well, I don't have access to a PC." You do not need a PC to play keyboard and mouse. You can plug it into your consoles. You will have more delay on keyboard and mouse when you play on console than when you play on PC, but it's still a viable option. A lot of you say you don't have uh, a desk for it or a keyboard and mouse. You can relatively learn on keyboard and mouse on a pretty cheap keyboard and mouse, around $20 for the keyboard, $20 for the mouse, and still be quicker at editing and better on keyboard and mouse. I really highly recommend for a lot of controller players who either are switching to simple edit or stuff because they just can't keep up. Keyboard and mouse is a great option. Now, there's a lot of controller players who are really way better than keyboard and mouse players, and like I say, you could be great on both. But if you're not improving, you've been in the same state for a while, maybe switch to keyboard and mouse to help you improve. I will make another video just on keyboard and mouse improvement. If you want that, please like the video and comment. We want keyboard and mouse, how to improve on it, because I have played on keyboard and mouse now for roughly around 4 years, and I have improved a lot since I first started. And I also decrease, and I'll teach you how to get back to your level if you ever take a break and just can't quite get back to where you were. I'll teach you tricks and tips on how to get better, even on keyboard and mouse. Alrighty, guys, on to our next tip. Now, we're starting to get into where these tips are for higher level players. You're not up to where you can do triple edits, high ground retakes, all this stuff. To start watching videos improving on the basics, building, how to build, get better at building, get better at editing. Then come back to this video or anybody else's video and learn high ground retakes, piece control, what's the best way to fight. Alright, onto this for the higher skilled players. Now, piece control. It's the most important aspect of build fighting people, or just fighting in like the battle royale modes. Reload. When you piece control, you're taking the walls from your opponent, or putting them in boxes, or just having a lot of the builds yours that they're sitting in, or that is a direct spot to them. So like, I have a wall on them. I have like that is the quickest way to them. I have it. They don't. Now, how do we piece control better? How do we build fight better? When we build fight in normals, we don't want to emphasis on just trying to get the wall and killing them as much as we do on fighting safe. Now, when we fight safe, we're talking about making sure you have a lot of builds around you, you're covering your back, you're fighting smart. A lot of times, even though I have a shot lined up or I can take this guy's wall, I don't yet because I want to make sure I am safe from other players, not just the guy I'm fighting. I want to use misdirection when I'm trying to piece control or build fight people because they're, they're good. They're going to know what you're trying to do. So I'm trying to be less predictable. As like I said, piece controlling is one of the most important things in the game, and you really need it to improve as a player. So, build fighting. What is the best build strategy for build fighting? I always say you want to learn 90s. Everybody knows what 90s are, but 90s are a great way. High ground retakes help a lot with when players are above you on either protecting yourself while you're building up to them or just taking height in general. Now, when you fight a lot of players on high ground, you want to make sure you're making it where they can't see you because they have the advantage of aim on you. So you want to make the advantage of being unpredictable, surprising your opponent with what you're doing. You want to be less predictable, do different edits than just the basic mongrel classics and wall edits like the peanut butter. You want to be a little more less predictable because a lot of players will practice against players like who use mongrel and who are high skilled players. You want to be a little more like less predictable, but you still want to be quick. How do you improve and be quicker at editing and all that? Is a lot of build maps, a lot of edit maps, and just editing in the game, forcing yourself to do it. Also, I want to talk about improving your aim. I've seen so many great players who have great mechanics, but they cannot aim. Go into aim trainers, get that aim up. Heck, even if you have a friend and you're just like, hey, can you just build and let me try to hit you? That's always great too. Friends help a lot. So you got your aim down, you got your piece control down, you're starting to build a lot more. All right, what else can we do to improve as a player? How we fight. We want to make sure when we're fighting, we're getting the best shots for not taking any damage. We're not trying to 50v50 everybody. I fight very 50-50 people because I try to do more damage than them. It's not the smartest way to fight. When I'm fighting, I'm trying to make sure it's harder for them to see me. I'm taking great shots. I'm lining up great shots to kill them, and we're always aiming at head level. Why do we aim at head level? We're trying to hit them in the head. That's the highest damage shot we can get with especially with shotguns. Now, when we fight, we want to make sure they don't exactly know what we're trying to do. We want to make sure we're kind of unpredictable, and we're always, when we're fighting people, we always want to build. We always want to fight smart. We always want to protect each other. On to the next tip. When people are trying to take your wall and you can't edit that fast, I always put an emphasis on building more than one box. You always want to build out the side, whatever it is, build out the back. You always want more than just one box because they're so focused on your wall. If you build multiple boxes, you can easily switch to back boxes. I noticed you've seen a lot of the popular four boxes. Four boxes is excessive, but if you're playing a really good player in a tight situation, that is great. You're unpredictable. The next tip, when you piece control, you want to make sure you're building multiple boxes, especially if you're box fighting. Now, if you're build fighting, you want to make sure you're using high ground retakes and a lot of protection so you don't get shot in the back. Alrighty, guys. That is it for today's video. If you did enjoy, please like, comment, subscribe, and have a great day. TMS out.